Out today, season 2 of Conan O'Brien Must Go on Max. Now, you may recall they did some funky things where they shortened the season, and I bet they regret that now that there's been the Connaissance. I mean, there's a continual Connaissance, but I don't know why they had cut back the order. Anyway, we'll see Conan in New Zealand with Taika Waititi. Javier Bardem joins Conan in Spain. Conan will also visit Austria in this season. Max had tweaked the schedule after Conan was tapped to host the Oscars. They shortened season 2 to 3 episodes, but they gave the series a renewal for a 6-episode season 3. So maybe I have it all wrong and they just wanted to get something out there quickly. Anyway, it is on Max today. While we're talking Conan, I had seen this thing as I was prepping the Palace Intrigue podcast because my Prince Harry news tracker caught that Harry was going to be at this thing in Vegas today, but Conan is there as well. You'll find Conan at the Venetian in Hall A, Level 2 from 10 to 11 Pacific. Join Conan O'Brien and Jessica Williams as they explore the role of improvisation and comedy in leadership. Together, they'll discuss how humor and embracing spontaneity builds trust, leads to innovative thinking, and sharpens adaptability. Sounds like a nice paycheck for Conan. Now, this thing is called Knowledge 2025. It has been a convention of sorts all week. Individual pricing started at $21.95. $2,195 gets you a full conference pass for all the learning, inspiration, and networking. You could even see Conan O'Brien if you wanted to. A one-day pass, if you want to head out there today, is only $995 if you want to see Conan O'Brien, who's also on TV tonight. Nice money if you can get it. Late Night are reporting the final date for After Midnight with Taylor Tomlinson will be Thursday, June 12th. All week I've been talking about Nate Bargatze. They are coming for Nate. The industry trades pulled a particular quote, and I shared this screenshot in the Facebook group. Even though the article's been out for several days, what's coming up if you Google Nate Bargatze is Nate Bargatze on Disney, and Variety, Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter, and The Wrap all pulling up with Nate Bargatze says Disney head doesn't care about the audience. The pull quote from Nate: now Disney is run by a guy that's just a businessman. Well, that guy doesn't care about the audience. Now that this has come up, as I was doing the Nate stuff this week, I was coming away a little bit like he seems less likable off this interview. I'm not sure this Esquire interview helped him at all. And now I'm feeling more strongly about that. I've always liked Nate. He's been on my radar for at least a decade. But this Esquire article, I don't know, a little funky. Esquire asked Nate about his influences. He listed 4 people: Jerry Seinfeld, Judd Apatow, Walt Disney, and Adam Sandler. And this is where the Disney stuff came into. Esquire writes, according to Bargatze, Walt Disney, the man, not the brand, loved everything he made and cared about his customers. The quote, now Disney is run by a guy that's just a businessman. Well, that guy doesn't care about the audience. Bargatze cares deeply about his audience. He sees himself as their servant. None of this happens without them, he says of his career. I think one thing that came out in this interview is some frustration by Nate that his career took longer than maybe he thought. Now, there are a lot of 18-year overnight sensations in this industry. Just about everybody you've heard of, other than the TikTok comedians, have been doing this for a while. So, I don't know. It seems a little out of pace with his peers here. Esquire writes, while he was still grinding it out, lost in relative obscurity, he'd see his peers remark on a controversial issue, often something political, quoting Nate. They would skip a bunch of steps. Now they're mentioned everywhere because they said something crazy. Now Netflix called them and they got a special. Bargatze was tempted. He considered going that route, but he resisted the urge. Otherwise, he might lose his audience's trust. The more I dive into this is just a carefully created friendly harbor piece in Esquire. Nate says, the hardest thing to do is stay that path because it's not as flashy. You just got to sit in it. You just got to keep going. Then you get to the point where I'm at now. I'm frustrated by an entire system that's like, y'all were just grabbing headlines when I felt like, why did he not look at me more? He talked about Nateland, which would be built on the site of the former Opryland theme park. Nate says, I'll be honest with you, I bet we're closer than people think, but it's still a little ways off. Apparently he's in the market analytics phase of the project. Another weird take here, and before I even saw the rest of the media put up, I have in my notes here, I wrote the other day when I split up this article, weird take. Nate says, I don't think anybody's even trying to make stuff for everybody. Esquire writes, to illustrate his point, Bargatze brings up Succession. You know HBO Succession. Nate says, I did not watch Succession. I know it's the greatest show to ever exist. I'm not a moron. Everybody understands it's the greatest show in the world. I want to watch it, Does nothing to do with the show, but no one watched it in the grand scheme of things. So yes and no. Like, it clearly had buzz, but Forbes here is pointing out the Succession finale hit a series-high 2.9 million viewers, which Nate is correct. That is not a lot. If you want to go back 40 years, the MASH finale had 106 million people watch it. Okay, that was a different time. If you want to go back still a long time ago, but the Seinfeld finale had 76.3 million viewers. Again, a different time. The Pit on Max apparently averaged 10 million plus viewers. And according to website USTVDB, the ratings as of Thursday, May 1st, Tracker on CBS at 7.6 million. So if we want to find something on par with Succession, if we went down to 2.3 million, basically as popular as Let's Make a Deal on CBS, which did 2,305,000 according to this website. So Nate's not wrong there about Succession. Nate says, everybody has lives, everybody has kids, everybody has stuff to go do. They don't want to sit and worship your art. There's got to be a balance of appreciating Succession and appreciating King of Queens. Those worlds have to exist together. Now you have too many Successions. There's nothing that's a palate cleaner. Maybe the Successions are a little bit easier to make because you're making it for such a specific audience. You get the runway to make it for 5-6 years because it's cool. What if no one watches it? Doesn't matter. I think there's no one trying to do it. People still go to concerts. I do shows in front of 15,000 people who are laughing and paying attention for an hour. I see it in every single city. People want to go do something. You're not just giving them something to go do. Very interesting article. We'll see if there's more blowback during the week. I also wanted to pick a little more at this Bill Burr piece in The New Yorker. Burr said, my thing is, I wish we could go back to if you work 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, you can live comfortably. You can pay your rent. I don't think anybody should be able to argue with the fact that if somebody works 160 hours a month for you and they can still pay their rent, you're not paying them enough. And this thing when they have to go out and get a second job, spend more time away from their children, that's going to hurt this country. And it's also an incredibly callous and cold thing to do to somebody, knowing that because you want a bigger pool, they're going to miss out on the greatest thing ever, which is watching their kid grow up. You're stealing those moments away from them. I had a friend of mine. He told me the story. Right out of college, he got this job with a big corporation. He was living in New York. He gets the job. He crushes it. And then they place him in San Francisco. So he got to know somebody in HR, and they're having a beer one night. And he goes, I don't understand. They have offices everywhere. I live in New York. Why'd they place me all across the country? And the other guy goes, they do that on purpose. They want to move you away from all your family and friends so you're less likely to quit because you have no options. And I always just want to be in that meeting because, they talk around it. Did you ever see, what was that movie a few years ago? Zone of Interest? The way they were talking about putting people in ovens. They were talking about it like it was cargo, and they were dressed nice, and they were clean. They were having a little coffee, and they were talking about the most evil thing ever. Like the person who came up with that got rewarded for that. Breaking up families and moving someone away from, that goes back to slavery. It's terrible. They're constantly demonizing people with no power, like the food industry. When they saw the heroin addicts, they were jealous of heroin. They go, I wish people were in our food like that. So what they call it is, we want our food to have a certain amount of craveability. It's beyond evil, but because it's legal, and because politicians are so underpaid and they're taking the money from that, they don't do anything. A lot more there. I'll pick up on that either tomorrow or Saturday. Adam Sandler has got a movie. He will co-star with George Clooney. It is called Jay Kelly. It will hit theaters November 14th before it streams 3 weeks later on December 5th. So maybe we're getting the dramatic Adam Sandler here. And I'm a big fan of Adam Sandler, dramatic actor. I think he's one of the best dramatic actors. Comedian, he's terrible. But dramatic actor, I dig Adam Sandler. We don't know anything about the movie other than George Clooney plays Jay Kelly. Adam Sandler plays somebody named Adam Doherty. If you're up near Jamestown, New York, and you want to meet Gabe Iglesias, he'll be at the National Comedy Center. He's there to open the newest exhibit featuring his iconic 1959 Volkswagen bus from his record-breaking Stadium Fluffy special. Gabe will be there to officially unveil the display. The vintage VW bus from Gabe's personal collection is a fan-favorite centerpiece of his historic Dodger Stadium show. Admission to the Comedy Center is free all day. I wish I had known about this earlier. I would have. I bet they would have hooked me up. I'm friendly with them, and I've worked with Gabe in the past. I only saw this on Wednesday. If I'd known a little earlier, I could have planned my life. You got to pre-record. Sometimes you're going to disappear for an entire day. Oh well. Anyway, admission is free to the Comedy Center's museum all day. There'll be a fan photo op after the ribbon cutting at 4:30. Attendees can RSVP at comedycenter.org/fluffy. And to see who's back, Father Guido Sarducci weighing in on the Pope stuff. He was on Colbert. You haven't seen Sarducci in a long time. Sarducci told Colbert, I think it's fixed. Benedict XVI is going to be the Pope again. That's my prediction. Colbert reminded Guido that Pope Benedict is dead, and Father Sarducci responded, "That's what you think. It's a rumor. It's like Elvis. It's a conspiracy." Colbert said, "But we saw his funeral." And Sarducci said, "Yeah, but no one has seen him since his funeral." If you would like to keep up on all the latest things papal, don't forget we've got that podcast, White Smoke. I'm working on that one personally, and we are doing daily updates about the conclave. And hopefully, well, I mean, not hopefully, but if they've picked a pope between me recording this and you hearing it, well, that's what happened. Big Netflix plans. They're going to overhaul the homepage design. The new layout is more clean and modern, featuring visual elements for shows and movies while also managing to cram in more relevant information. Titles will receive callouts that highlight popularity, awards, or other features. They're also tweaking the recommendation engine to be more responsive to your moods and interests in the moment. There will also be a TikTok-style vertical video feed featuring clips and trailers from its shows and movies. Users can click and be taken to the full episode or movie. That's designed for mobile viewing on the go. The TikTokization of the world continues. Also, Netflix is partnering with the AI people on an AI search tool. One of the suits at Netflix says you could type in, "I want something scary, but not too scary, and also maybe a little bit funny, but not like ha-ha funny." Oh, so like an Adam Sandler space movie. I get it. There's a festival today, the Toledano Street Comedy Festival in New Orleans. Founder Andrew Stevens wanted to organize the festival like many music festivals, where attendees get a day or weekend pass and have a bunch of shows to choose from. That is always a good model. The JFL Toronto had that, and I really like that. This takes place in New Orleans at various venues around Toledano and Magazine Streets today through the 11th. Tonight at Sports Drink is a rolling show as more than 30 comics rotate through short sets. Andrew Stevens, the organizer, says it's like the funniest open mic you can have. Lots of comics will do a quick set we can film on a nice camera. Everyone does a 3-minute set, and it'll be a long, continually rolling show. This weekend's lineup includes New Orleans native Sean Patton. He's fantastic. Shane Torres, Dulce Sloan, Langston Kerman, and some others. Pretty good. Mr. Stevens said, "Kyle Kinane said comedy is best performed in places that violate the fire code. While we don't violate the fire code, we love pushing up on it." Sounds like a really good time. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you're on YouTube, look, I'm an old man. Do what the other cool channels are telling you to do. Like hit the bell, like and smash and all that stuff that the cool hipsters tell you about. Just do that stuff. All right. Help the old guy out. See you tomorrow.